The most important thing in life will always be the people right here, right now. That's what's real. Hello?
Dominic Toretto. You don't know me. You're about to.
Hey guys, welcome to What the Flick. Glad you're with us. Matt Atchity, Christy Lemire, Alonzo Duralde, Ben Mankiewicz. The 7th installment in the Fast and Furious series, Furious 7,
Yes.
Furiouser.
Yes. Furious 7 is the story of Dominic Toretto and his crew being hunted down by the older brother of the criminal that they took down in Fast and Furious 6. Also, as you may have heard, one of the stars died during filming, and it delayed the movie's release, and they rewrote the whole movie, or most of it, and managed to put together a solid story while still doing all types of over-the-top, crazy action set pieces and lots of booty shots. Let's watch a clip.
Who did this? Remember Owen Shaw? This is his big bad brother. He's a Special Forces assassin. They created a monster. Looks like the sins of London have followed us home. We're being hunted.
Can somebody just walk me through what we supposed to be doing?
Yo, Roman, you need some fresh air?
Just when you didn't think it could get any better, huh?
Everybody get
We got mercenaries after us with enough weapons to wipe out small countries. This right here takes crazy to a whole nother level.
I didn't see this, so I just want to ask one question because I'm struck. Obviously, I know what your guys' ratings are, and Alonzo feels a little differently about the series than the rest of you. But what's incredibly impressive is that it was headed towards self-parody. It could so easily have been, and somehow they've managed to cobble together 5 or 6 pretty good movies out of these 7.
Yeah, 6 is great. Like some of them
Yeah, I
are
really like
legitimately
that.
great because
I like 6 a lot,
Craig
yeah.
Morgan was your screenwriter and Justin Lin did the last several of them, and so people who know what they're doing and like knew how to amp it up and have fun with the innate silliness of it came in and did that really, really well. I think this is not perhaps as good as those, but it's pretty impressive given what all they had to work around.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, if you look at the sort of the arc of this thing, like 3 with Tokyo Drift, which a lot of people badmouth, sort of set up the idea of, rather than just be the sort of gritty street race thing that the first 2 movies were, the idea that you could blow out the physics and the logic a little and just go for these sort of gorgeous shots that whether or not they made any sense. And that was Justin Lin's first stab at this. And then when he came back with 5, I think he really cemented what this series would become, which was basically a superhero movie. These guys are superheroes without capes and without masks, but it is equally as jaw-dropping and nonsense-making as, you know, any Marvel movie.
Gravity-defying.
Exactly. And yeah, so you're right. This one isn't quite up to the 5 and 6 standard, but it carries on in that vein, and I think is a lot of fun to watch.
We were walking out saying like they just threw everything in this. Like it's so silly.
They did. You know, I'm with Alonzo on these. I love all these movies because every one of them, they get the cars right. But starting with the 3rd one, they start to do these different themes. And the 3rd one, Tokyo Drift, is kind of a classic sports story about a guy who comes in and learns a new sport and he's better than everybody. 4 is kind of a revenge picture. 5 is a heist. 6 is a spy movie. This one's kind of a spy movie. And they all work. The last 2 before this one are great. This one, again, not as good. There is a lot of action that's over the top. Everything that you want to see, everything that you expect. It doesn't gel together quite the way it needs to. I think in a few places, you know, they're being hunted down by Jason Statham's character, who's a new person in here, but then they have to go and do some mission for the government to find the MacGuffin that's going to help them, and it gets a little, I think, unfocused in those parts, although those set pieces are fantastic.
Yes.
And it's hard to really complain that much. It is a bunch of cool action sequences all strung together and just enough of a plot. And, you know, look, we're all going to cut them some slack because they lost Paul Walker before the filming was completed.
And it gives it such a sense of like poignancy and dread because for every really serious action scene, you're like, okay, is this going to be the one?
Yes,
How are they going to handle this? How are they going to do it? And it's emotional. I don't want to give anything away, but I will say that there is an emotional punch to this that we've never seen before in any of them.
Absolutely,
They handle it well.
But it is weird how the real life death of Paul Walker sort of colors the action here, where normally you would watch some giant explosion or some insane, car dropping out of a thing or chasing or whatever, and just kind of take it as by the by for these movies. And now suddenly you're thinking, oh no, wait, there's an actual dead person here. And are they going to kill him in the movie in one of these sequences? Because how has no one died in any of these sequences over 7 movies? You start retroactively thinking about that. So it puts a spin on things, but I don't think it doesn't put like a cloak of,
No, it's really fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes you appreciate just how good he was at being the stoic center, but also how agile he was and how fearless he was.
Right.
And there's a scene where he's like on the hood of a car trying to leap into a bus, and he's like surfing on the hood and
throwing down
he's
with
doing
Tony
it.
Jaa.
Yeah. Convincingly.
Convincingly from the Protector series. One of the things I wanted to point out too, outside of how they handle Paul Walker, James Wan, and I turned to you in the movie and said this, is clearly an ass man.
But I think you have to be an ass man to make these movies.
This is an ass series.
Right,
I mean,
but
come on. This is an
I
ass
think
franchise.
The booty shots in this are so over the top. There's a shot sequence early on where there's the girl in the very short skirt and the thong who's starting the drag race. And it's this low angle shot from behind her, and you see the two cars. And it cuts to one of the guys in the cars. And then it cuts back to her ass, and then it cuts to Lenny in the other car, and it cuts back to her ass, and then it cuts to another shot over the cars, and then cuts back to her ass again.
I can't believe I didn't see this movie.
Right, I think the camera essentially gives her a pap smear. It comes up into her so tight.
There's about 90 seconds of dialogue before we get to the first booty shot. I was like, oh, we're already here. Okay, this movie's not wasting any time.
But they know how silly. They have the cartoonish hot music video, chicks grinding into each other. We were just laughing our asses off.
It was great. I mean, I'm not complaining.
It's funny.
I'm not complaining at all, but damn, there's a lot of booty shots in this movie.
There's your blurb.
I was writing up something for TCM, and I wanted to make fun of a sequel series that we obviously wouldn't be showing at the TCM festival. And this is perfect for it, except you can't use it because they're too good.
Yeah.
You might. It's not funny. Right, yeah.
Really
you have to use the Expendables 3.
From whom Ronda Rousey from Expendables 3 turns up in this one and gets a pretty great fight scene with Michelle Rodriguez, but not as great as the Michelle Rodriguez Gina Carano fight scenes from the previous movie.
Same thing,
and it's kind of like how Tony Jaa, great, Tony Jaa's in this, but it's not as awesome as the raid guy in the previous movie, like the Joe. I think this movie does what it does well. I was thoroughly entertained, but I also kind of kept thinking, 5 and 6 were a little better, but that's okay, Again, I think it's very easy to dismiss these movies as, oh, they're just sensation and there's no plot, it's all excitement, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to do those right.
Yeah,
a
totally.
lot of movies want to be just sensation, and they're numbing. I mean, watch fucking Need for Speed if you want an example of how to do this movie wrong.
There is stuff in this we have never, ever seen. The whole sequence in Abu Dhabi with the skyscrapers is nutty.
I didn't blink for a good 2 minutes.
You love when you take. I love watching a filmmaker take a silly idea and just completely amp it up, and go as far as they possibly can with it. And this movie embraces the insanity, and the last 2 or 3 movies have done that. Embrace the insanity, the concept, and have fun with it, and deliver everything you hope to see for. All of the crazy action in this. This is all the stuff that you're kind of secretly, boy, that wouldn't it be cool if these cars jump between these skyscrapers.
And now they do.
Is there any sense of how much is CGI and how much is old-fashioned stunts?
I don't know.
There was at least one part of somebody outside of a car that I thought, wow, that seemed as real as the stuff in Death Proof, but I'm sure it was probably CGI'd. There's an explosion early in the film that was kind of fake.
But I would say that the Paul Walker stuff is pretty seamless because the way they reconstructed it was facial stuff from him previously, as well as both of his brothers physically stood in. And there's a couple times where we're like, okay, they're clearly shooting him from behind or shooting him, they're obscuring his face. But they handled it really well.
I didn't even know until after, because I didn't really pay that much attention about how much he had or hadn't shot.
It's pretty seamless.
I didn't even know that that was a thing until I read that later. So
That's just so they use-
unless
I
you're
didn't- I
looking
didn't know
for
that
it,
either.
you'll miss it.
I mean, if you want to look for it, sure, you can find it, but, you know,
Right.
enjoy the thrill of it all.
Some of that
instead.
stuff is kind of obvious just if you know the movies. There's some things that are definitely scenes, definitely shots that they pulled in from previous installments. And then some of it is pretty good CGI. It's a little scary how good it is, actually.
Yeah.
But I had a great time. At
So what's your number then?
7.
Okay.
7.
There you go.
And partly because 6 and 5 are so good
Yeah.
that I want to kind of acknowledge how good those are in comparison to this.
And yours is?
An 8. I had
Well, I
a
thought
blast.
you didn't like this. I was misspoke.
No.
Yeah.
No, we all like
I mean,
it.
I know now after listening to you talk.
No, I
People
had a
think you're a
blast.
serious, stodgy dude, but you like your popcorn.
It's people who don't pay attention think I hate everything or that I don't like fun
Why do you hate
stuff.
everything, Alonzo? You suck.
Go eat a bag
This
of
from the guy who liked the Three Stooges.
I give it 7.5. I'm right in the middle of these guys, literally. And so our number is 7.5. Where is it?
It is at 82% on the tomato meter right now, certified fresh.
It's going to break crazy, crazy box office numbers, I think, for April. So go see it.